What's up, world? What's up, Zion? It's Prince Easy coming at you again, as usual. I do have a couple slides that I want to share with you this fine day that we're having here. Alright, so before we get to them, I want to issue a disclaimer. Fair use disclaimer for the copywritten material that's going to be shared here in this here video. Right? So yeah, let's get to it. So this came out. Apparently, they are investigating that. Does WhatsApp have the ability to read encrypted messages through WhatsApp? I can tell you for a fact they have complete access. At this point, we gotta be honest, right? A foreign base in your country is a symptom of occupation, because you cannot tell me that Kenyans cannot handle their own security, right? And if you say it's for defense, against whom? That's what I want to know. Against whom? If you cannot provide that answer, then you are there to provoke and to start some. Do tectonic weapons exist? Yes, they do. Are current events highly suspicious, especially over the past 2 years? Most definitely. So the Russians and the Chinese have met pertaining to their security. Apparently, that's what the memo says. But hey, this is all Russia. Never forget. Yeah, it is. I can't even. This is what the Pope is calling for. Sincere dialogue. Look at what Sergei had to say. He said Europe does not respect their national interests. And yeah, that's true. If the financial types are talking about will, then you can bet they already have. But what they can do to keep you in the delusion is to basically just do what their tech gurus are doing, right? Just pretend like China is doing nothing and basically China does not exist, and then you make your right. That's how they measure their success, right? By ignoring the competition. I don't know what good will that do in a free competitive market, but hey, it is what it is, right? So many things happening. I don't know why he came through with a Batman suit. Eh? So these people in 2026, they are telling us that Russia struck a hospital in Zaporozhye. And they're even quoting Ukrainians saying that they don't believe in any type of truce. I've seen enough to know better. But again, I'm going to keep my opinions to myself. But hey, this is what they're saying. He says the releases basically absolve him of yeah, beauty filters. We talked about this a long time ago. I I'm just ahead of the time, and in most cases I'm seen as, you know, a horrible person. It's fine, right? It's fine, but it always gets there because it's clearly going to get there, right? And this deception, this alternate reality that people are creating for themselves using these cameras and the metaverse basically is not sustainable. It's not, right? It just I don't know, encourages subversiveness and deceit, basically, right? Or the Americans call it what? Catfishing, is it? I think that's the terminology, right? Catfishing, right? It's a thing over there, right? They pretend to have basically a false identification. The same thing, right? And now, since they have created this false narrative, and most of them being young women, just anorexia, you know, everywhere. Why? Because they try to fit in and look like a filter, you know. And the software is so advanced, like the lies so beautiful. That's why it's dangerous. Okay, more updates down the line pertaining to this. Why is it a competition? Why you are losing is because China is not really competing with you. What is there? Are you going to compete with China in foreign investment? Are you going to compete with China in diplomacy? Are you going to compete in China in industry, in energy, in what exactly? This is what I'm pondering every day. Right? It's like they created this world for themselves where they have to compete, you know. That's their purpose in life, you know. They don't think in the world in any other way than competing and winning. That's not life. That's waste. That's a waste, right? Because what you're really pursuing is just prestige, and for what? To what end? Does that help us as a whole? It does not, right? It does not. So all of these charts here trying to show that there is some sort of intelligence involved and proper discernment of how the world really works. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. Yeah, like I said, we live in a world where a tweet can cause market disruptions. I don't know why. In my opinion, the system is rigged. That's my opinion. That's the only conclusion I can reach. Because if not, then it's actually much worse. Hmm? Wow. Okay. If I say so. Hmm? The nerve, right? Again, giving sane advice. What is CENTCOM doing over there? That's that's what I wanna know. Hmm? 400 billion in a single day. Do people even know what 400 billion is? Or is this just a case of overvaluation? Hmm? There are links to Putin with Russian girls, right? This is what the Sun is saying. I'm just here to show you exactly what type of narrative they are playing, and this is not even the first time, right? Remember, I showed you the other one the other day, right? If you are claiming that Putin is involved, please show us the emails and stuff, and the pictures, most importantly. Right? So you're asking yourself why a surveillance firm is embedded, maybe for surveillance reasons. So again, I asked, this is the second time. The second time they do such activities, right? The first time, you remember when he said they were talking about not Jewish, right? That this guy is somehow not has no Jewish ancestry and whatnot. Remember that? Not well. They are back, right? But me, I know this world is not what you think it is, right? The whole of humanity has been put in a alternate reality and stuff. Just a few individuals get the opportunity to pick over if you're crazy enough to take it there. Why is this relevant? Well, we're gonna circle back to this hopefully down the road, right? But again, I ask you, why is this relevant now in 2026 February? Is he alive that they are somehow discrediting and I don't know, discrediting his name and stuff? Maybe, maybe. Again, you know me. I'm what they call a conspiracy theorist. Exploited. That's what warfare is. Exploiting the vulnerabilities of your opponent to have an advantage over them. So why are you complaining again? Why? Because they believe that Musk should be on their side, or rather on Zelensky's side, by default. You know, it's an interesting question. Very interesting. That what if somebody did that to your president? Would that be counted appropriate? Because don't get me started on why one might want to do that. Right? And for those who believe that it's much worse, brothers and sisters, it's much worse. Right? You just need to buckle up and psychologically be, I don't know, prepared. Yes, they do eat human flesh. They've been doing it, right? During colonial times in Africa, ask the Black Americans. They'll tell you. But now it's more of a ritual and stuff, right? So they do rituals. They eat human flesh, right? They eat all sorts of disturbing things. Let's just put it that way, right? But when that talk of adrenochrome start hitting the streets, then you'll be concerned that the industrial scale that these things are rather conducted, right? Demand and supply, right? Of course, the capitalist that has capitalized on the human merchandise, let's just call it that. Again, the question, what are you going to do about it? This is just a response, right, from the previous slide I showed you, right, from send to whatever, talking about you should conduct these military drills with, I don't know, some integrity, you know. Cuba is in a national crisis. Hopefully we make a deal to be quote unquote saved from said national crisis. Right, the final stage is the most difficult, and at the moment we do not know whether we are close to a result or the contrary. Not at all. It's hard to say. But recently, my guy, you just said everything is sorted out and we're just waiting to sign and stuff. This is Zelensky. Right? We are relying on security guarantees from the United States, and a document has already been prepared in this regard. We are also relying on security guarantees from Europe. Almost everything is already there too. But it has not yet been approved by Parliament or the US Congress. As I've said before, we don't really know if this is the final stage and just a short way to go, or if we'll still be working with many countries to secure reliable security guarantees. Yeah, this hit the street also. Yes, this is embarrassing and all of that. Again, just like the Didi thing, it feels like people are being fed stuff. New list DOJ filed for the first included 20 emails from Elon Musk us thinking about visiting this island. Hmm? Yeah. Now he says he's not involved. On the other side, apparently Starmer has been catching hell for his visit to China. Bedonok says that the trip achieved nothing. So why are you pointing it out? Why is it a problem then if it achieved nothing? This is why I'm confused. The status quo did not change, so what? And I know it's a fact that is an exaggeration. Hmm? A Navy officer got caught doing what Epstein been doing. Now some speculate that it's a cultural thing, but again, right? Our race has been victims, so I don't know. This might not be. We just might give evidence, but the world is to judge for itself, right? We might give evidence that just like the Epstein files have shown, they do make trips to Africa, to the Caribbean, to play with the little children, their dirty games. And at the end of the day, they don't really stay here. They go back home. So again, where does this habit come from? Right? Because here in Africa, for instance, here in Tanzania, if you get caught fondling with children, if you are lucky, you'll be caught by the police and taken into custody. But if you're not, you're gonna die right there. You're just gonna find ashes. Let's just say that. Because there are limits, you know. If there are none, then people don't fear nothing, you know. So what is it? Is it that such kind of behavior has been normalized, that these people now feel comfortable to even make a industry out of it, you know? I don't know. Starmer came back after the criticism, and this is what he said. For 8 years, achieved nothing. So trying again, again, this is your problem. This is a you problem, right? There are people who are not, who are fighting against your interests, right? Starmer is one of them in many respects. In many respects, their support for the genocide over there in Gaza, their illegal sanctions and the open theft of Russian stuff. So I don't know if it is case by case. Then for the sake of the people over there, it is not a mistake. I don't know where the mistake part comes in, but you're gonna see some interests, right, who are really they wanna exploit the European peoples rather than, again, benefit or do something for them, right? So they're saying that ISIS is claiming that it did this in Niamey. please, okay, please. This is just CIA helping out the French. Yeah, there ain't no ISIS or nothing. Okay. USA, hello. Right, and now again, just a barrage of information just coming out, Very strange. I hope people are seeing the strangeness, right? And I think the woke people among them, they're asking the real questions like, okay, who was this guy answering to? Hmm? Right? So, GM, General Motors CEO, is giving advice to Canada and the UK. Right? You are in here also. Importing cheap, important Chinese EVs, right? And by cheap, it does not mean poorly manufactured, but in this case, it means low price, right? But they wanna, again, confuse you, right? Make yourself choose your own poison. What do you want to be offended by, right? Is it that the Chinese EVs are poorly produced? That's not the case. Are they priced at a low price? Yes, that's a fact. So what is she complaining about? What is the slippery slope there? They might say, yeah, the domestic industry will struggle. What is the domestic industry doing currently? Right? Are they creating strong supply chains? Are they doing anything to make their products affordable or basically be competitive in that case? Right? So these are the languages of those people who want to exploit you. You need to catch on quickly. And it's not the first time. They keep messing with you over and over, over and over, over and over. Lavrov done said, they don't really care about your interests. Right? And this one here, right? Now we have Prince Andrew, Jay-Z, Trump, and this whole situation here, right? This piece that just pop out of nowhere, this interview, that was just waiting for the perfect time to just pop out of the woodwork. Focus. Okay? Focus. 50 is involved in this whole situation. Do not be tricked, Just like those people who believe Dave Chappelle never wore a dress. Yes, Dave Chappelle wore a dress. Right? These enemies of humanity have done a very good job of hiding said footage so as to create a false prophet. Okay, now it's your job to find out what are they prophesizing, right? What are they trying to sell you that is not righteous? Right? 20 earthquake hit a U.S. city in 90 minutes span, shaking homes for 100 miles. Again, going back to the unusual, right? Going back to the unusual, right? For those, I don't know what do they, what do they, those people study earthquakes. Right? Let's just say there's the seismograph people. Is this normal, right? Or is it just, climate change? So yeah, the Burkinabe police got movement now, right? Very good. Hmm? This is what creativity gets you. When society becomes efficient and most importantly listens, right? Creative people, if their input is considered, everybody benefits. You know, the whole of society did not write the songs that we all enjoy. No. So again, changes is brought about by the few for the benefit of the many. That has to be understood. It's just a fact of life. So this Nipah virus thing is wreaking havoc over there in Asia. Mm? Nip it in the bud. Work together, transfer information. Right? Contain, study. Study. You cannot just be putting out fires in the forest without even asking yourself, okay, why are these fires even coming up, Yeah. This whole situation stinks. All I'm saying is, right? It's nasty. Me personally, I've been knowing for years how nasty these people are. That's why there is no overreaction from my part, right? Because I didn't live in a fake world that they have created for themselves for us to inhabit, where they are seen as saints and stuff, right? I went to the darkness, right? To the things that they were sweeping under the rug, right? The threats, the killings, the ritual sacrificing, the adrenochrome, the mind control MK Ultra type situation, right? The whole nine. There's too much that has been kept. And now it is the apocalypse. Right? Everything is gonna get revealed before we get to Armageddon. So are you gonna be, I don't know, strong enough to take it at the cheek, right? Because these things, understand, they have already happened, right? They have already happened. Being upset at this point really just, I don't know, serves one's own personal, I don't know. The discussion is how, right? How is it that with all this technology that these people are able to do this, right? And fly under the radar? Because there is a systematic protection for these people. That's why. Hamas broke the ceasefire. How and where? because if they did, we would have reports on top of reports on top of reports pointing it out, but it was just silence, and then there were pictures, right? There are literally pictures out there of this missile falling down, literally caught in mid-air. Remember the slide that I shared yesterday pertaining to this subject here? There are actually 4 images that were provided under that post. You can go look it up. You can literally see the missile heading downward to go and kill these people. Look at that. More suspicious drones. They don't know whose, but again, they're pointing out, or they're just pointing it out, that this just happened after the Russian incursion, right? The Russians' incursions, right? They have not shown us proof of that, right? That the Russians actually invaded their countries and whatnot. But here we are, you know? Putin's drones in Poland. It's usually drones and Iskanders, but again, this time it's just drones. Doing what? This is their, I don't know, retaliation of some kind, right? Yesterday, the Iranians had a drill. Now they are having a drill. They're calling it a show of force. Yeah, of course. These people are fanatics. There's a diplomatic editor. There's nothing diplomatic about this editor here. Right? Yeah. On his, there's a, I don't know, is that a angel on top of it or something? Anyway, yeah, as you can see, right? The world has not gone mad. Right? The world is just being revealed for what it is. I gotta keep saying that, right? Because now people are gonna have to. They're gonna take this stance out of fear, just a reaction. Right? There's much more millions in the files to come. So, again, how do we stop this from happening again? Right? Because I'm not just talking as a person that has not been affected. East Africa is right there. Those are just the ones they mentioned. Okay, whatever it is right now is what has been documented. Right? Why would they document such devious stuff? It is what it is, right? We should find the perpetrators and ask them. Right? So yeah, I hope that is gonna be the direction. Right? You should get over the shock. Most people in society heard about such things happening, but they ignored it. Why? Because it was coming from a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists, right? That they are trained that they should shun, right? And basically do not regard anything they have to say. That's why the apocalypse is here. Everything is gonna get revealed, right? And they do believe that they can have control over what gets released and how and in what manner and how people are supposed to react. Well, don't give them neither. Okay? Don't give them neither. So yeah, I'm gonna put a pin on it right there, and we're gonna hear from each other when we hear from each other, right? Prince Easy, love you, signing out. Bye.